Tau Cetian Souls. If you are a Tau Cetian soul, life has always felt tangible, serious, and deeply real. You perceive the world through what can be built, held, sustained, and lived day by day. Reality speaks to you through form, responsibility, and consequence. You feel grounded even when others float. You notice details others overlook. You sense where things require care, effort, and time. Here is something you are about to hear that many Tau Cetian souls recognize instantly. You carry a natural connection to matter, to home, to work, to the physical shape of life. You understand instinctively that stability creates safety, and that safety allows life to unfold. While others chase ideas or emotions first, you focus on what keeps things standing. This creates both strength and weight. From early on, you learned to be reliable. You learned to show up. You learned to take responsibility for what needs to be done. People trust you because you are consistent. They lean on you because you hold things together. You become the one who makes life workable. At the same time, there is an inner experience few people see. You often feel that your efforts go unnoticed, that your contribution is expected rather than appreciated. You invest time, care, and energy into building something real, yet recognition feels quiet or delayed. You may feel deeply connected to what you create and still feel unseen inside it. Now listen closely. This is something rarely said directly. Your pain does not come from lack of emotion or imagination. It comes from how much you give to keep life stable. You hold space through action. You love through responsibility. You express care by making sure things work. When that effort feels taken for granted, a quiet heaviness forms inside. And still, there is devotion in you. There is patience. There is a deep respect for reality as it is. You carry the ability to turn intention into form, to turn connection into something livable, to turn care into structure. What you are hearing now gives language to experiences you may have carried silently for years. It honors both the weight and the strength you hold. This is the beginning of recognition for Tau Cetian souls. And what follows will reveal how this grounded depth becomes a source of stability, meaningful connection, and a life that feels solid and alive at the same time. This description was created by the Starseed Soul Project as a way to put clear human language to lived inner experience. It was shaped through observing how people build, relate, endure, and repeat the same emotional patterns across time. It exists to offer recognition rather than explanation. What you are hearing now reflects something you already know from inside yourself. For Tau Cetian souls, relationships are closely tied to stability and survival. Connection for you feels practical, grounded, and serious from the beginning. You enter relationships with the intention to build something real. You offer reliability, presence, and a willingness to carry shared responsibility. Love feels connected to safety, continuity, and everyday life. Here is something rarely spoken with clarity. Your core relationship pain grows from how much you hold together. You often become the one who grounds the relationship. You organize. You pay attention to what is needed in real life, not just emotionally, but materially. Over time, you may notice that structure, planning, and follow-through lean heavily on you. This creates a quiet inner tension. You feel connected and committed. You also feel alone in carrying the weight of the bond. You give consistency so the relationship can function. You adapt so life together remains steady. Your care shows through action more than words. This pattern tends to repeat across relationships. You meet someone who brings warmth, emotion, or inspiration. They are drawn to your grounding presence. You create a base where the relationship can live and grow. Gradually, responsibility becomes uneven. You hold routines, plans, and future vision. You stay because you value what has been built. Listen carefully here. This explains something many Tau Cetian souls recognize deeply. You remain because you believe in durability. You trust effort. Walking away feels like abandoning something that could last. So you continue, even when the load grows heavier than expected. This repeating dynamic shapes how love feels inside your body. Connection becomes linked with responsibility. Intimacy becomes linked with providing stability. You feel valued for what you hold together, rather than for who you are. And still, within this pattern lives strength. You carry a rare capacity to build relationships that endure. Your presence creates safety. Your loyalty creates continuity. Your ability to stay brings meaning. Recognizing this pattern is the first opening. It allows you to see how much you contribute, and it prepares the ground for relationships where stability and responsibility are shared rather than carried alone. A quiet transition begins when you start noticing a subtle shift inside. Connection starts to feel different. Less about proving reliability, more about sensing mutual presence. You begin to feel that relationships can hold you as much as you hold them. This understanding arrives gently, through lived moments rather than decisions. What you are about to hear is something many Tau Cetian souls feel deeply, yet rarely see reflected. Your experience in relationships mirrors your experience with money and material life. You approach work, resources, and stability with the same seriousness you bring into connection. You value continuity. You value safety. You value building something that lasts. You move step by step with patience and care. Money for you represents more than comfort. It represents security, predictability, and the ability to relax inside life. You work steadily. You plan ahead. You take responsibility for outcomes. You prefer slow growth that holds rather than fast expansion that collapses. And still, material life can feel heavy. Earning often connects to effort rather than ease. Resources come through persistence rather than flow. You may build a solid base and still feel that enjoyment arrives later. You may achieve stability and still postpone pleasure. Here is something rarely spoken. Your inner conflict lives between safety and vitality. You learned early that grounding creates survival. You trusted structure more than spontaneity. You associated responsibility with worth. You feel safest when everything is planned. You relax when systems work. At the same time, a part of you longs for movement, warmth, and aliveness inside that structure. You want stability that breathes. You want security that includes joy. This tension lives in the body, in the way you hold yourself, in the way you pace life carefully, in the way you delay rest until everything feels handled. Your body carries discipline alongside quiet desire. As awareness deepens, something begins to soften. You start allowing small moments of pleasure without conditions. You notice where safety already exists. Money slowly becomes support rather than weight. Work becomes steady and nourishing. Value starts to include presence, enjoyment, and lived experience. Your body begins to trust that stability can hold movement. This is the space where Tau Cetian depth finds balance, where grounding meets vitality, where material life supports feeling rather than containing it. This transition opens the way toward a life that feels secure, embodied, and quietly alive. At the shadow point of the Tau Cetian path lives a quiet and deeply human truth. You learned to survive by being useful, by being reliable, by being the one who holds form when others drift. Over time, usefulness blended with identity, care blended with duty, stability blended with self-worth. This shadow appears as over-responsibility. You take care before being asked. You anticipate needs. You prevent collapse before it becomes visible. You create safety through action and consistency. Inside, your nervous system stays attentive, ready, engaged with what needs to be done next. Here is something rarely spoken this clearly. The avoided truth lives in desire, in personal longing, in the part of you that wants warmth, inspiration, and emotional nourishment without having to earn it. You became skilled at meeting external needs while postponing your own. You offered structure before asking for presence. You gave reliability before allowing intimacy to reach you fully. A turning point arrives through maturity rather than exhaustion. You begin to sense that devotion includes yourself, That care becomes deeper when it flows in both directions. You notice moments where releasing control creates more stability than holding tighter. You allow others to participate rather than protecting everything alone. This shift feels subtle yet profound. You continue building. You continue showing up. You also allow space for softness, pleasure, and emotional reciprocity. Responsibility transforms into conscious choice. Support transforms into shared ground. In higher expression, Tau Cetian Souls embody grounded stewardship. You create environments that feel safe, warm, and sustainable. Your presence carries calm authority. Your relationships grow through mutual reliability and emotional presence. Your work reflects patience, care, and long-term vision. Matter becomes supportive rather than demanding. Relationships become nourishing rather than duty-based. Energy flows steadily through what you build. Logic serves clarity and simplicity. This is the Tau Cetian, potential realized. Strength rooted in care, stability infused with warmth, responsibility aligned with inner truth. Here, devotion turns into wisdom, and the life you build begins to hold you as deeply as you hold it. The portal 11.11 opens here as a moment of grounded self-recognition. It is a calm point of orientation where lived experience becomes clear and structured through language. For Tau Cetian Souls, the portal helps you see how your focus on stability, responsibility, and tangible results has shaped your relationships, work, and life choices. It offers understanding that feels practical, steady, and deeply familiar. You recognize yourself without pressure and without urgency. If you feel ready to go further, deeper exploration unfolds through focused activations and relationship PDFs. They support integration in everyday life. They help translate insight into how you build security, share responsibility, and allow emotional connection to live inside structure. This path respects your pace. It honors your need for clarity, reliability, and real application. Now stay with this moment. What follows brings the full picture together. You carry the strength of embodiment. You know how to make ideas real. You know how to turn intention into form. You create stability through action, consistency, and presence. When you commit, things grow roots. When you build, it lasts. In your elevated expression, Tau Cetian strength becomes both solid and warm. You continue to value structure and reliability. You also allow closeness, emotion, and shared support to live inside what you build. Responsibility transforms into conscious partnership. Effort transforms into sustainable creation. Your relationships gain depth through shared ground and mutual care. Your work reflects steady progress with room for satisfaction. Your material world supports life rather than dominating it. Your energy flows through purposeful action. Your logic brings simplicity and order to complex situations. Let this understanding settle gently. Allow it to guide how you choose, how you commit, how you receive. You do not need to carry everything alone to remain strong. Your strength already lives in your capacity to build and to stay. You are a Tau Cetian soul. Your origin is shaped by embodiment, reliability, and grounded creation. Your destiny lives in building a life that feels stable, connected, and deeply real.